Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Honorable Chairman, members of the Judiciary Committee. I thank you for the opportunity to testify. My name is Roland C Gorvin. I grew up in the city of Woonsocket and now reside in Cumberland. I'm a heterosexual male. Growing up as a young child, I went firsthand what prejudice and discrimination were. I have two mentally challenged brothers. We were discriminated in housing. People didn't want us living in their neighborhoods. We were not, excuse me, I hate to follow a script that I wrote myself.
You're doing a good job.
I wish I was articulate as a young man earlier.
We all do.
Doctors and dentists wouldn't even treat my brothers. I had to come here with my parents and my uncles when I was a young child, trying to get civil rights and human rights from my brothers. I knew what it was like. I felt I had more in common with my black friends than with my white friends, because I wasn't accepted by my white friends. Their parents wouldn't let them play with me because they thought that mental retardation was contagious. There was something wrong in my character, something that was flawed. I had friends that had brothers who were gay and sisters that were lesbians. Back then, you see, I was a homophobe. Because of my upbringing, I was taught to believe that homosexuality was wrong. It was against God's rules. And I tormented, tortured even, some of my brother's friends, some of my friends' brothers. One of my friend's brothers, his name was Miles. His parents figured they were going to give him the treatment. They were going to send him away to be straightened out because they thought homosexuality was something that you chose. Sad to say, I don't know whether he's ever fully recovered from that. It's something that I wish I could get across to people on the other side of this issue in this room. Homosexuality isn't a chosen behavior. I've talked to many gay people. You see, I became a police officer in the city of Woonsocket. And my defining moment where I changed my attitude towards homosexual people was when I had a gay bar on my beat. At first, I was very apprehensive, even scared to go into that establishment because I didn't know what to expect. When I got in there, one guy came up to me and flirted with me. I told him, I said, I'm not gay. I said, I'm a police officer, and I'm here to do my job. He left me alone. And I looked around in that club, and I saw many people from different segments of the community that I wouldn't for the life of me have suspected were gay. These people were very productive citizens. Some of them were members of this legislative body. Some of them were very respectable businessmen. Some of them were high-ranking law enforcement officials from other communities. Some of them were professional athletes. Who would have thought? Who would have known? Nobody, because these people had to stay closeted. They couldn't come out. They couldn't express who they really were. I had that change. I changed my whole attitude. And I have to fight for equal rights. I have to atone myself for the way that I treated my fellow man. In my belief, this is a civil body that I'm before tonight. It's not a secular body. It's not a religious body. This is a civil rights issue, just like it was a civil rights issue when I had to come here with my mom, my dad, and my uncle to testify, trying to get civil rights for my two brothers. They were discriminated against. There was prejudice back then. Sure, it may not have been to the extent the Representative Met's people suffered, but it was still discrimination that I felt as a child, that other people have felt as children. I don't want this to happen any longer. In fact, I can give you a little story, if I can find it on here. I took my grandson, who was 7 years old, a year ago, to Provincetown. We were going on a whale watch. It happened to be the day of the Gay Pride Parade. So my grandson's scratching his head. So I said to him, "What's the matter? You don't understand about gay people?" So I started to explain it to him. He says, "Papa, you don't have to explain that to me." He says, "My Sunday school class, I have a little boy that has two mommies." And he says, "I have a little girl that has two daddies." He says, "I know what gay people are." He says, "They're people that love each other just like other people do." He says, "The thing that I don't understand is why their parents had to go to Massachusetts to get married, and they couldn't get married in Rhode Island." I said, "I don't know. Do you people know?" Then he said to me, and this struck me more than anything. He said, "Why aren't people allowed to love each other?" And I'll finish with that.
Are there any questions or comments for this witness?